what other races that were brilliant to watch over the years? There's so many. It's just trying to narrow it down to the best ones. In 1990, we saw 3 different race starts because of collisions on the opening lap. I think one of the drivers who ended up involved crashing in the first one didn't take part in the second one because his car wasn't built in time. So he joins, I think one of the media teams, can't remember, it was the BBC or something. But after the second start was stopped due to another accident, he was able to take, the team were able to build his car in time for the third start. So the 2 starts proved to be irrelevant. And he ended up in the commentary box in the second start. And by the time the third start came, he was able to get back into the car. You don't hear that every day.
Lucky him.
Reminds me of a couple of races that I've had with many restarts, but let's not go there.
I mean, Oru just claimed so many, well, I say claimed so many drivers, it's had its fair share of mayhem over the years with drivers crashing into that part of the track, either at Eau Rouge or at Raidillon, top of Raidillon. 2 of which I'll mention, Jacques Villeneuve and Riccardo Zonta, during qualifying in 1999. Villeneuve had an accident there the year before in the Williams. Who else had? I mean, 2004, the first lap collision between 4 drivers, I think it was. Takuma Sato, Mark Webber, and then a separate collision involving Giorgio Pantano and Gianmaria Bruni. Other collision, I mean, we had Kevin Magnussen go into the barrier on the exit of Raidillon in 2016 in the Renault. And then obviously there was the F2 accident in 2019, which we won't go into too much detail about.
Yeah. Everybody who's raced Spa in some way or the other feels, or at least has a lot of respect for Eau Rouge, as it's a very difficult track. And imagine it's difficult on a sim where you don't have all the G's pressing on you. Imagine how difficult it is in real life where you have the G's of going up, the G's of taking one curve and then the other. I mean that's gonna shake you really like nobody has shaken you before.
I mean, just trying to think of other brilliant moments at Spa. I mean, Max Verstappen's move around the outside of Felipe Nasr in 2015, when Max Verstappen was in a Toro Rosso. What else have we got there? I mean, like 2017 or 18. Not too much else really I can think of. I mean, Michael Schumacher won in 96 and 97 during his first years with Ferrari.
Alonso won in the 6 hours of Spa.
Yes.
So
he never won there in Formula 1.
That's very possible. I don't remember. But it's very funny. It would be even more funny if he never won on Formula 1, but he won on an LMP.
I mean, that's interesting. What else? I mean, Spa wasn't particularly the luckiest of circuits for Alonso during his earlier years in Formula 1 at Spa. didn't finish in 2001, 2004 he didn't finish, 2005 he was second, 2007 he was third, 2008 I think he was fourth, 2010, oh no, 2009 didn't finish, 2010 didn't finish, 2011 he finished, it was fourth he finished then, 2012 didn't finish, 2013 he finished, I believe it was second, 2014, can't quite remember, I think it was like 9th or 10th or something like that. It was at the lower end of the points. 2015 was something like 14th or 15th. 2016 he finished in 5th, 7th, I can't quite remember. 2018 didn't finish. So he's had his up and downs at Spa actually as Alonso, but I think he's been leaning more towards the sort of bad luck rather than good.
So, do you have any news about when we will be starting qualifying in the race? Because I haven't seen anything for now.
No, I haven't seen anything yet. Just looking to see if there was anything more. I mean, we would normally see Jack sorting out those side of things, but I don't know if he's back from work yet, so may have to bear with for the time being.
Well, better for the pilots who can now train and train and train and train, but on the other hand, you can train all the week, as this is clearly one of the basic Assetto Corsa tracks.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's on Assetto Corsa, Formula One, or even go-karts. I think I tried a lap on a go-kart actually on project cars. Actually, it didn't quite work. So I was over revving the car too much, and the engine just gave up the ghost. But
I've done this with the Seicento that is in Assetto Corsa, just for giggles. You know, the Fiat 600?
You've done it in a road car, have you?
Yeah. It takes a long while to finish to finish Spa with those cars. But
yeah.
As I said, for giggles, lots of fun.
To be honest, if I did it in a road car, I wouldn't complain in real life. It's, out in the Spa. Even if it may take 15 minutes to do. It is a 7-kilometre circuit, and that's fine.
Okay, I was just checking the Discord, but I don't see any information about Jack being anywhere near his computer. As I said, he was running a little bit late because he had to work late, and therefore he could not. He's not able to start everything the way he wanted in time, so we're watching the practice that the pilots are doing. And while we're doing that, thankfully people in the chat are telling me how to put the sound, so at least we have that.
Just looking on the stream now as well, you can see the safety cars out there. Just giving his.
Yeah, but I think he's also doing practice.
Yeah, well, he's doing practice well. I wasn't going to say he would be racing in that, but I think it was more of an exploratory, like behind the safety car, in terms of how quick it would be if the safety car was to be needed for this event.
Well, if we're to go with Hamilton, the safety car is always too slow.
Oh.
If you listen to the onboard radios, he's always protesting. Can the safety car not go faster? My tires are getting too cold.
Lewis is always complaining about the safety car, especially when he's leading or something, but
I can feel it. I understand it. When you're accustomed to take the car for a spin at 300 km/h, the safety car, which is not a normal street car, but still more of a street car than a Formula, is always too slow.
then he's going to try and better the lap time did before. He hasn't done so on this lap. So it's the safety car's lap is just over a minute slower than Bose's time. So I think this is pretty much a test to see how quick he can go around the circuit. You can see a couple of cars there that looks like Timo Roosent, who I interviewed last week actually, and got to know the Dutchman a little bit more. And yeah, I think he was trying to remember everything that I said to him, which is a week ago. We were meant to be racing last week at Magny-Cours, but due to the low numbers, that had to be postponed. And as far as we know, that track will feature at the end of the calendar.
Yep, it will be added. Oh, by the way, you mentioned the calendar. Let me take a look at the calendar. So, today we are at Spa. Next week we are going to be at Imola. A week later we are going to be at Monza. Then we're going to be at the Red Bull Ring. Then a non-point race at Nürburgring. For those who don't know, it's a track in Nuremberg where DTM mostly raced. And, well, no, this year they're going to race there again. And it's a very fun track, but it's not made for open wheel racing. Still, it's a race within the calendar, although there are not gonna be points for that race. After that, it's Baku, which some like, some don't. I hate it, but that's me. After that, we are in Bahrain. We're gonna be in July already. Then it's gonna be Watkins Glen, which I'm very much looking forward to, as Watkins Glen is a track that I like a lot, and I am interested in seeing these hybrid cars racing there. After that, it's gonna be Gilles Villeneuve, so the standard Canada circuit. Then it's gonna be what it's called, Jose Carlos Pache, and then it's gonna be Magny-Cours. We're gonna be the first week of August at Magny-Cours.
So you know, with the Sakhir Grand Prix at Bahrain International Circuit, is that going to be on the Grand Prix layout, or will it be on the outer loop?
Come again?
You know, the Sakhir Grand Prix in Bahrain, will that be on the Grand Prix layout, or will that be on the outer loop configuration like it was in last year's Sakhir Grand Prix for Formula 1?
As far as I know, it's gonna be in the Grand Prix configuration.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned the Norris Ring on there, and the fact it's in Nuremberg. It reminds me of the, what's it called, the Battle of Nuremberg. It was a World Cup match between Portugal and the Netherlands. It was a World Cup match in 2006 that saw, I think, 16 yellow cards and 4 red cards in that match. Yeah, I don't know how much of a football person you are, but that, when you mentioned Nuremberg, that just reminded me of the Battle of Nuremberg.
I'm absolutely not a football person. If it doesn't have a motor, it's something that flies completely past me.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's not everyone's thing. But I know that Jack's dad is a Manchester City fan, which it's not good news for me because I'm a Manchester United fan myself. But going back to the thing about Norris Ring, I do like the track. I would say for some single-seater races, it's still a good circuit. I mean, the W Series competed there in 2019, and of course, ADAC Formula 4, and I think the Formula 3 European Championship used to race there before it merged with the GP3 Series to form the FIA Formula 3 Championship in 2019. And I think DTM still race there? I'm certain.
Where? At Norrisring? Or where?
Norrisring, yeah.
Absolutely. Even if now they've been reduced to just another GT3 series, they are going to be racing there. It's such a classic that they would never dare to put it out. Also because the pilots love that track. And for good reason. So yes, Norrisring is on the reduced calendar of this year too.
So just looking at other circuits on that calendar you've gone through, obviously I would most certainly be looking forward to Magny-Cours because it's a circuit that I've not seen too much of since the last time Formula 1 had raced there in 2008. Similar, obviously, most definitely Monza, Red Bull Ring, Baku, which is, I think Baku is a debatable one because I think it can create some crazy racing. But I think one thing that's crossed my mind over the last few weeks about it is where the pits complex is. It's right at the end of that long straight. You know, if you've got two cars side by side, even the tiniest of taps can see a driver go airborne. It's lethal. Essentially, and I think that raises question marks.
Although that hasn't happened until now, not even with that crash that Verstappen and Ricciardo had. So it seems that I mean, maybe we've just been lucky, but yeah. One thing is it's got a couple of very high-speed places. And that are narrow at the same time, and what I'm surprised is that there haven't been worse crashes there. So as I said, I'm not a fan of Baku, but it's an interesting track, and from the driver's perspective, I personally find it more interesting than Monaco, which I consider extremely boring as a driver.
So would you rather have Istanbul than Baku?
Oh yes, absolutely. Istanbul is a track that I love, is a track that I've raced in many sims, and I like the flow. I absolutely like the flow of Istanbul. But there are a lot of tracks. I mean, I'm very happy that Zandvoort is in the Formula 1 calendar once again, because I consider Zandvoort to be a very, very good track from the flow, and it's a difficult track. It's got high-speed places, it's got technical places, so it's tons of fun. So yes, I like Istanbul a lot. I think it's a very interesting track. It's more a high-speed track than a technical track, but yes. Or if you ask me, I'd rather have Istanbul than Bahrain.
Yeah, I mean, Istanbul is a good circuit. I think if you asked me 10 years ago which circuit would I prefer Sakhir or would I prefer Istanbul? I prefer Istanbul, but I think now that Bahrain has upgraded itself in terms of cementing its place on the Formula 1 calendar, it's certainly a good benchmark for like the Formula 1 teams to go to do testing at. And I think you've got to give hats off to the promoters or the organisers of the Bahrain Grand Prix in terms of what they've done to make, marketing the circuit. Because with the outer loop that was used for the Grand Prix last year, the Sakhir Grand Prix that was just amazing. I really loved that one. And I hope Formula 1 does use it again in the foreseeable future. I can imagine other series would do as well, depending on Bahrain's schedule for the year. Miller, obviously, I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just trying to think where else. I mean, obviously, Red Bull Ring, I mean, formerly known as the A1 Ring or the Österreich Ring. Österreich Ring, it was a longer layout back then in the 80s. Yeah, the Red Bull Ring, which you can't complain. Obviously, this week it's been confirmed that the Red Bull Ring will be hosting 2 Grand Prix on back-to-back weekends. Styrian Grand Prix on the last weekend of June before the Austrian Grand Prix following weekend on the 3rd of July. That's something that we as fans most definitely looking forward to. But then,
you know what would be
20...
interesting if they brought Salzburgring back. I think that was for a time there were Formula 1 races there, and I like that track.
Oh, is it the one that they used to use for IndyCar, where I think Alex Zanardi had his frightening accident at?
It's in Austria, so I don't think it's used for IndyCar.
It may have been, I can't remember, but yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I'll tell you one circuit which stumped upon last year was the, I think it's called the Scandinavian Raceway Circuit in Anderstorp in Sweden. That was a really interesting. It was basically almost in a car park area, but it had some lovely winding corners, like smooth corners, but it feels more like a sort of a Barcelona type track. Where else would Formula 1 be interested in Formula going to? I mean, Kyalami wouldn't be a bad shout, but I would only want Formula. And also Indianapolis. I mean, Indianapolis is somewhere I'd love Formula 1 to go to again. On the outer course, like the last time they used it in 2007. I'd love Formula 1 to be racing there again. The only thing that would bear in mind is obviously what happened in 2005, where we only had the Bridgestone runners compete, which obviously caused concern to fans. But I think that just seems to have eroded now, given that we're in a different era with different tyres to what we previously used. We're using slicks rather than groove tyres as it was back then. We're using Pirellis, not Bridgestone or Michelin. So it's like if someone has to pull out, everyone else will in those circumstances. But Indianapolis would be somewhere I wouldn't complain about going to, because I'd love Formula 1 to go there again. I really, really would.
On the other hand, I think Watkins Glen is a good choice for these cars, as the Open Wheel Racing Championship is doing in, let me look, where are you? In July 10th. So if we're talking US American tracks, I think Watkins Glen is an interesting proposition.
Yeah, I mean, Watkins Glen is a circuit I've come across before. Would it suit today's Formula 1 racing? Probably not, because the cars are too big for it. I know that IndyCar do race there sometimes. It's just, it's a historical circuit for Formula 1, back in the 70s, which I remember, I think it was 1973 that saw the death of Francois Sever, who was teammates with Sir Jackie Stewart at the Tyrrell team back then. But I think with Watkins Glen, I mean, the last time they hosted the Grand Prix, I think it was 1980. I think it was 1980 was the last year that Watkins Glen hosted a Grand Prix. But yeah, it's interesting. Watkins Glen would be an interesting one. I mean, there's loads of brilliant circuits in the States.
Oh yeah.
Going to, I mean, they're obviously going to Miami next year, which will be a big hit.
There is a mod for Assetto Corsa based on the planned configuration of the track a couple of years ago. I don't know if they've changed that configuration, and I raced there. I even did a video there testing the mod, and I gotta say, I find Miami, at least as was displayed in that mod, very boring.
I think it's only because it hasn't quite been developed sort of modify as it would be in real life, because one, Formula 1 hasn't been there, and two, the layout has only just been made, if you like, or Assetto Corsa. So give it time is what I would say. I mean, it's signed a 10-year deal, so it's not like it's going to be there for a few years. It's going to be there for foreseeable future. So that's my that's where I stand with it.
I mean, I would go and say let's have them racing at. Oh no, I forgot the name. There is a very windy city track in the States, and I have all the time. I have New Orleans, but it's not New Orleans. Is it Detroit? I don't remember. It's
Phoenix. Phoenix. Is it Phoenix? Is it Phoenix?
Let me check, because once again I did a video on that.
Sebring? Dallas? Where else did Formula go to? Long Beach. Long Beach.
No, I'm not thinking about Long Beach, but that would be a good one too. No. It's let's see. Check. Oh my god. I've tested 33 tracks already. Man. Detroit Belle Isle.
Oh, Detroit, yeah. So,
but Formula One would not be able to race there.
No way. No way. I think, to be honest, it was even too narrow for those back in 1988 or 87 when they were racing there. It was far too narrow back then. So, believe it or not, you can actually unlock Detroit as, I think, as an unlockable, I think it is, or unlock it as like a bonus if you complete a season of Formula 1 or something like that on Formula 105. And you could obviously do like a test session of a Formula 1 car driving around there or something, but
oh, okay.
doing it before was quite a handful to get right, so it doesn't feel the same as it would have been back in the 80s. But I think with how when you test one of the sort of classic cars and you compare it to what it is in the real cars, you can tell how far Formula 1 has gone, or how far Formula 1 has come with brake horsepower, aerodynamics. Like, you take Mugello for instance, because obviously Mugello is a historical track for a lot of racing, and you compare Lewis Hamilton's pole position lap at Mugello last year to, let's say, if Nigel Mansell did it in a Williams FW14 or something like that, or Ayrton Senna in an MP44. It's just, there's no comparison. It's just no comparison. You can tell which is obviously the faster out of the lot, and it tells you how far Formula 1 has come in terms of the technology involved. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember doing Kyalami in... Is it Kyalami or Kyalami?
It's Kyalami.
Kyalami. I don't know, what car was it?
Which layout are we talking? Are we talking the current one? That...
No. I tested, there's a fantastic mod for Kyalami 1967. And I took one of the old Ferraris that Assetto Corsa has, and man, it was really a complete different feeling than for example these RSS Formula Hybrid. Great track, but completely different to race, of course. I think they have the Ferrari that I took was even from before the time they had mechanical downforce, So it was a handful.
I can imagine. Can you believe also, you know Paul Ricard in France?
Yep.
It has currently 167 different configurations. It could technically do a race on if you wanted to. 167.
Yeah, on the other hand, I find Paul Ricard so extremely boring as a track that I won't want even one of those configurations. I prefer Magny-Cours much more.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer Magny-Cours, as it's got some like nostalgic corners like the Estoril right-hander. You've got the Adelaide hairpin, the Nürburgring chicane, the Imola chicane, which takes you towards the newer part of the track, the right-hander before chicane, right-left chicane that takes you onto the pit straight. Of course, Magny-Cours, believe it or not, was where Michael Schumacher clinched one of his 7th World Championships. 2002 it was.
Ah, look at that. No, didn't have it in mind. And yeah, it's a fantastic track. I like it a lot. It's very difficult, and I'm gonna be very interested to see how these pilots and these cars do there. As all in all, it only has one place where you can really drive fast. All the other places you have to be very technical.
I mean, Silverstone, which configuration of Silverstone, going over the years, obviously you've seen different configurations of Silverstone, which configuration would you mostly prefer? I mean, I remember the one they used in 1990, before they changed it, where it was the Maggots and Beckett's, where it's just a small left kink of Maggots, and then a sharp right kink of Beckett's before you go past Chapel, and then a smooth right-hander of Stowe before you go through Club, and then pass through Abbey, which takes you towards chicane, which is where Luffield is, and then Woodcote. That was very fast back in its day.
Yeah, on the other hand, as much as I hate Maggots and Beckett's because they're very difficult to drive, I like them having I like it having them there. It's like really you have to put your mind into it, think very fast. Okay, which gear do I have right now? Which gear do I want to get into? Which gear do I want to have out of it? So, yeah, I think I like having Maggots and Beckett's the way they are now.
Yeah, I mean, Maggots and Beckett's is a nice configuration for Formula One. But I've also enjoyed the bridge section of bridge, which is like a left-right chicane of where Abbey is, which was reprofiled following the death of Ayrton Senna in 1994. You know, it was the year when we saw a lot of circuit they chose to make swift changes to make the cars basically go through the corners a little bit slower than like Abilene chicanes, or put more camber into some of the turns. But yeah, it's interesting how far Silverstone has come from where it used to be. Say one circuit that hasn't changed too much over the years is the Hungaroring in Budapest. Now, it's hosted a Formula 1 race in every year since 1986, but the only changes I know is the right-hander of turn 1. It used to be a smooth right-hander for turn 2, whereas now it's got more camber. It's a longer straight, and it's a sharper right-hander for hairpin before they go through, down to turn 2. And where turn 3 is, they used to have a chicane, I think from 86 to 88. So it's like a right-left chicane before you go to the left kink, which is basically where the beginning of sector 2 is. Other than that, although towards the end of the lap, where turn 12 and 13 is reprofiled for 2003. They've been in there ever since. So not too much has changed, I don't think, at the Hungarian, but a lot of other circuits, it has changed quite a bit. So that just brings back, a lot of memories in terms of which circuits changed over the years to make the racing better, I suppose, or to increase safety.
Yes, I commented, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I find it sad that we're not going to see Vietnam as a track in the near future, because I quite like that track. It's in F1 2020, of course, but there is also a quite nice mod for Assetto Corsa. And for me, that's a great track, a very interesting track to drive. But yeah, well, we know how it goes, and we know that we're not going to be seeing it in the near future. What a pity.
I think I'd love to see it on the calendar just for the sake of Bond and trying it there, but it's just whether they've got the funds to do it now. But obviously there's some politics behind it as well, in terms of what's involved in that. But yeah, I think Hanoi is a track. It's an interesting one. I think sectors 1 and 2 are fine. I think the last sector is what I'm more iffy about. There's a lot of blind corners, like fast blind corners, which you have to absolutely nail. If someone gets it wrong though, it can cause mayhem behind. I think that's where it can get very, very nasty. I don't suppose we've got any updates on where Jack is at the moment, do we, Surta?
No, I was just checking and didn't see anything. Nope. I mean, he said he was running late, but I don't know. It seems that he was running a lot later, more late, whatever, than we thought. At the moment, no information about where he is and what he is doing, so we'll have to wait. Maybe this race will also be postponed.
Which would be a massive shame for the drivers, but at least they've got some mileage under their belt around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, which is a circuit they all love racing at and doing laps on. So far, the fastest time in this practice session or qualifying, whichever you want to put it, Christoph Bose on a 1:41.2, and David Halligan, his teammate for Griffin Gaming, second on a 1:41.3. And then the DACs of Southwood and Cochrane, well, I think Southwood's the only person in this one actually, he's fourth on a 1:41.6. So there's still some time to find, but the top guns are all pretty much close to each other at the moment. We have got some new drivers making their debuts. Just seen a what looks like a Bytown going into the gravel trap, unless I'm mistaken which car it is. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for the drivers. And surely there needs to be a cut-off point as to when. There needs to be a cut-off point as to whether this race is going to go ahead or not tonight. So
and that goes to show how much sim racing is lying to us, because these guys are doing a 1:41, and the Formula One record, as far as I can see from Wikipedia, is 1:46.286. So.
Is that the track record, or is that a race lap record?
Race. The Belgian Grand Prix 2018 it was Valtteri Bottas.
So just looking at the track record, find it. So the track record would most likely be a pole position time. Just find it.
145. I know. Sorry, that's the old bus stop. So forget I was saying anything.
Just having a look at the moment of where I am. And in 2020, pole position time was a 1:41.2. That's in last.
And that was in qualifying or what?
Yeah, it was. So yeah, it was in qualifying because they'll have had that was back when teams were used to be able to turn the engine mode up post practice.
Mm-hmm.
So Lewis Hamilton was on pole with a 1:41.2. So that's the track record for the current configuration of Spa-Francorchamps. That's a very similar lap time to what Bose has posted in this session. Yeah. Oh, there's been an incident on the exit of Radion as well. I've just seen. Not sure if the driver involved who hit the barrier continued on. Hopefully we don't see that in the race whenever the Open Wheel Racing Championship does happen.
Well, I mean, it's like always when you're even in real life when they are doing practice, you're trying different things. You're trying different gears and whatnot, and of course that ends up sometimes not in the right place. Some of the pilots are saying they want to do a hot lap contest.
I suppose. I mean, this is something for the drivers to do. You know, at least it's better than just not racing at all, I suppose. But yeah, I wonder how long these drivers have been practicing. They've been practicing for well over an hour now. These guys.
Even longer, as they started. They started practicing at around 7 something my time, so CET. I don't know, does anybody know how traffic is in Great Britain at the moment? Maybe Jack got stuck in traffic.
Well, on a Saturday evening, it's not really that busy, if I'm honest with you. It's the only times when it is busy in regards to traffic is during what's called the rush hours, which over in the UK it would be between 8 and 9 a.m. between 5 and 6 p.m. So that's when people normally would start work or finish work during that time.
So he's not stuck in traffic as far as we know.
trying to look at the circuits. I mean, obviously, there's been the news, obviously, Istanbul not being able to host a Formula 1 race on June the 13th, hence why we've seen a double header in Austria. But do you personally see Istanbul hosting a race this year, should other circuits fall through in terms of the schedule?
But isn't it already? Wasn't it decided? I thought it was clear that it would be doing this year once again.
Well, no, because the thing is, it was meant to do it. It was meant to be replacing Canada at first, but earlier this week, due to the COVID restrictions over there and the quarantine measures, it's not possible for Formula 1 to be going to Turkey straight after Azerbaijan, which is
I
June
missed
the
those
3rd.
news.
Yeah, that'd probably be news that are new to you. So, as a result of it, Paul Ricard's been brought forward by a week. Push back up. No, Paul Ricard's on the 20th of June. 2 weeks after the Azerbaijan race, and then the 27th and the 4th being Styrian and Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. So just to make sure that we get the same number of races in as planned, which is 23. But what I was saying was, or what I was going to ask you is, should Singapore, the likes of Singapore, Japan, Austin, Mexico City, or Interlagos in Brazil, were to not host races this year, can you see Istanbul hosting a race during that time?
Absolutely. As I said, I like Istanbul. I think Istanbul fits also the Formula 1 cars. So yeah, why not? Why not? Although the pandemic situation, none of us know how it's gonna move ahead. So if they are having trouble now, I don't see them getting out of trouble in the next 4 weeks to 2 months. But yeah, from the racing, from the fun in watching the race there, absolutely. I think Istanbul is a great track to race, and it's a great track to watch a race in.
I mean, there's also other ones like Mugello that could possibly host a race, but the only thing I would say with Mugello is the fact that Italy's already hosted 2 races this year. The last thing they want to be doing is bringing Formula 1 as a sport into disrepute over the number of races being held in a single country in the year, which I'm not sure how that would go down in terms of the other venues. I mean, my say would be to go to Nürburgring, because we don't currently have a race in Germany at the moment. So
True.
I think Formula will need to do all they can to either go to Nürburgring or Hockenheim, or possibly both.
Or Nürburgring. Well, joking.
I think that's a long shot. I mean, another circuit which has come to my mind actually is probably too narrow for Formula 1. I think it's FIA Grade 2, is the Oschersleben, which is where Formula 3000 used to race at.
Oschersleben is a fantastic track, but I don't think it fits the way the Formula cars race right now. But I love Oschersleben. The DTM was a long time at Oschersleben. Sadly, they aren't there anymore. And for me, it's one of the great tracks in Germany that are a lot of fun. That 90-degree left-hander at the end of the start and end track that then goes into a wide right-hander. I think it's fantastic. I love to race there, and I love to watch races there, but I do think that for Formula 1 it's a little bit too narrow. And another one, and I was discussing that with another community, I think it was in today. Another one that would be interesting would be Brno in Czechia.
Yeah, the Czech Republic.
I mean, I like the flow of Brno. I do think that it would fit Formula 1, other than Most, for example, which is also a great track, but I don't think it fits Formula 1. So yeah, Brno would be a great place. And as you said, Kyalami would also be great.
Yeah, I mean, Brno, I wouldn't mind Formula 1 going to Brno, but it's just, the only thing with Brno is it's in the middle of nowhere. it's more of a sports car circuit than a single-seater racetrack. That's the only thing I'd perhaps argue with it. But I'm all for Formula One trying new circuits to explore new options for future years, rather than just going to the same 20-odd places every year. That's just boring.
In the chat, we're being asked opinions on Assen. What do you think?
I mean, Assen in the Netherlands? No, it's probably still too narrow for Formula One. I mean, I know that W Series raced there 2 years ago, but it's just the circuit's still too narrow for the current Formula One cars are. And we've already got a Grand Prix lined up in Zandvoort anyway, so I don't feel there's any need for Formula One to consider going to Assen. And there's already a race potentially at Zandvoort. There's also a question saying, also any chance we're ever going to see the Hanoi circuit? On the Formula One calendar for the future, I think it's going to be very difficult. I mean, I'd love it to be on the calendar, but just for the sake of Formula One, going there to explore different communities or a different market, or exploring different markets for future years. Oh, just seen a collision actually between the AlphaTauri livery drivers. Couldn't quite tell who they were there, but going back to that question there, Hanoi is a circuit which I don't mind, but would it suit the Formula 1 cars when they go there? Who knows? But there's a lot of permanent racetracks which I would rather see Formula 1 racing at than Hanoi. And considering we've already got a Grand Prix in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which Formula 1 will be going to, that's a street track, and it's already signed a 10-year deal as well. I think it's going to be very difficult for Hanoi and Vietnam to be hosting a race around that time or earlier in the year, whichever.
Well, we're not getting any information about the whereabouts of Jack, the organizer of these races, and I think we should call it a day. Unluckily, we would have loved to show you the race in Spa, and at the moment we don't know where we're gonna be next week with the Open Wheel Racing Championship. We know we're gonna be again broadcasting, and hopefully at that time live and showing you quali and races. But for today, we're gonna call it a day. We're gonna close this broadcast. Tom, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm looking forward to talk again at least next week, if not sooner. So thank you very much for being here, Tom, and thank you very much for sharing the time with me.
No problem, Serta, and we do apologise to all those who have tuned in to watch what they were hoping was going to be a brilliant race, but due to the circumstances of Jack being at work and not able to communicate to us in terms of what's happening, we were left with no option but to postpone it. So we do apologise, but we are optimistic that we will get some racing in this time next week.
So, as always, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium. Thank you all for joining. Bye.